What is up, guys? Zan for Playbook.gg here with Antcap, and we're here to talk about the Gridiron Notes Madden NFL 20 title update here on October the 17th. Before we dive into this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the great tutorials that we've got headed your way here on the Playbook.gg YouTube channel. Okay, guys, so welcome back. As always, here with our commentary style videos, I am here with Antcap. And Antcap, we got a title update that could be pretty big here in Madden 20. What's going on, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm really excited for this conversation we're about to have. Title update that we've been all waiting for. It's been one that's been kind of announced that it was coming today, right after the club series. Is the one that we expected to be kind of a bigger one, and something that we're going to discuss. What the actual changes were. How does that affect competitive Madden? How does that affect just all of Madden? And kind of just take it line by line and see what we thought and kind of expressed and get some chat of what you guys think as well.
Yes, absolutely. So if you guys have any thoughts, comments, complaints, whatever you may have, drop those in the comment section below. Let's get some talking going on about the game, about what you like, what you didn't like from these notes, what you played. You have the opportunity to install this patch right now. I've already installed it as of 10:30 this morning Central Time on October the 17th. Now, we are going to go through this line item by line item. We're going to start off with some key highlights, new X Factor players. This matters because Regs is not done from a competitive standpoint. We've got that DreamHack tournament coming up in Atlanta here in November. So the first big one is Vikings. Vikings got some big bumps here with this title update, Antcap, and the first one is Dalvin Cook. He's going to replace Melvin Gordon as an X Factor player. He's going to take his first one free, and now he gets the jukebox and the inside zone guru.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a huge one. That's going to be, every time you're playing regs. I mean, whether if you're a regs player that does it all year long, or someone that is going to have competitive aspirations with this DreamHack, the changes of something as simple as this can change whether or not you're going to be using a certain team. The Vikings are now on your radar. They have the ability to have Adam Thielen, who's got the slot specialist, basically slot apprentice. And now you add a running back that not only has jukebox, but he's got inside zone guru. So it's the two of them together could really be kind of a dominant. And we'll get in a little bit later as we go into these notes, what changes has affected the run game, and kind of discuss that as well. But I think these two right here are going to be things that are going to be still powerful in the game, and something that you're going to see a lot of people go towards the Vikings because of this.
I totally agree. I think they've got a monster defense. Obviously, they've got the enforcer with Harrison Smith as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that here when we get to gameplay. The next one is going to be Jair Alexander. He's had a solid start to his career. The second-year DB out of Louisville replaces Ben Roethlisberger, and he's going to get the shutdown ability with the man up and acrobat. So basically going to be a Gilmore clone for the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great addition to the Packers lineup. I don't know if it's enough for me. Rodgers got that great release. You've got Aaron Jones as obviously a decent running back without a whole lot of superstar abilities with it. But in general, I don't know if this one is as much of a factor in people jumping to them, but it's still a nice addition to basically give him his first several games of being a shutdown corner. They're looking at that, and those Packers fans are going to be kind of excited to be able to use their player in that regard.
The next one is one that's big for me. When I played a lot of regs, and trust me, I played a lot of regs to start the year. It's probably my favorite mode in the game. I think it's the most balanced mode in the game, all things considered. But the Kansas City Chiefs defensive tackle, Chris Jones, long overdue for some love in Madden. Obviously this year with the abilities, they're able to do so. They're going to bring him in with the Fearmonger X Factor, and he's going to get that power move specialist and the under pressure passive abilities. Absolutely huge if you're a Chiefs user.
I think this is a game changer, to be honest with you. There was not a lot of Chiefs when we saw it in the original Classic. And the main reason why people didn't use them is because they didn't have a natural player to get to the quarterback. People using armbar, then they're using edge threat teams. Another big thing was, people using the escape artist. The fact that Chris Jones is able to be put on a defensive line to combine it with the offense that the Chiefs have, I really think that there's going to sway some people that way, the way that the game may end up playing.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more on that front. You have Mahomes, who has the escape artist, the dashing dead eye. He's got all those different dead eye abilities. I think he's got the red zone dead eye as well, where he just makes insane throws. He can make crossbody throws. In my opinion, they're the best offense in the game, even without an arm bar or a running back ability. They have Shady McCoy that they just picked up. Who knows if maybe he has a nice, good few weeks. Maybe he gets a jukebox in a future update. That's what I really like about EA doing these superstar X Factor changes, but not just the X Factor changes. They're actually updating superstar abilities. So quickly, we've got some guys that did get some, and some guys that have been downgraded. Very quickly, I'll go through the ones that just got updated. Cooper Kupp with the crossing route specialist, Kevin Byard with the pick artist, Shaq Barrett, also known as Sack Barrett, this year, having a monster year with the edge rush elite. That's a good one. Kenny Clark gets that inside stuff. Deion Jones gets the lurker ability. That's an interesting one that we might want to look at. Chargers Melvin Gordon, he's downgraded. We talk about him losing his X factor to Dalvin Cook. He's still going to retain his jukebox. And Ben Roethlisberger, who was removed as an X factor, he's going to keep his sleight of hand. Other players losing abilities. You lose Leighton Vander Esch. Cam Newton, now nothing on him. Stephon Diggs, done. Lattimore, done. As a Bears fan, Tariq Cohen no longer with the jukebox. And Baker Mayfield, all that preseason hype, he loses his ability. Any of those stand out to you?
A couple of them do. The first one, I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield. A lot of people use the Browns because they had Chubb that has the armbar. Then you had Baker Mayfield that had the ability to have escape artist. That was huge. I think without having that, I think people are going to go away from the Browns, at least to start off with. Another one, we already talked about Alexander getting shut down. The Packers get some love with Kenny Clark and inside stuff. We haven't yet been able to see what that exactly does, but from what we've read about it, it could potentially be one that may be able to really dominate with the inside runs with the dives and ISOs. If that turns out to be OP, I would definitely look at that one as a possible run stuffing ability. And then the Falcons, with the lurker, Deion Jones, that Falcons defense, it's terrible this year. I'm a huge Falcons fan. You all know that. They're terrible, but one thing you can't change in Madden is speed, and that team flies across the ball. Now that you got somebody that's got lurker, that could give you a little bit more of an opportunity to want to use him in that regard. So, some people have, crazy picks and they do it for different reasons. Falcons may be something on the radar just because they do have this speed throughout the field. And if you got, 1-4-6 defense with speed, you definitely could have that ability to kind of, at least play some good defense with that.
Yeah, I think that's big when we talk about lurker. So many of the meta defenses this year, people are using safeties, whether you're a big time 1-4-6, send the house and user a safety, or a 3-4 odd where you user one of the two safeties, or you play 3-4 bear and you user the strong safety that's in the box. Those are the three most popular defenses this year. All of them user the safety. To have the lurker on a linebacker could potentially open up some new defenses to be used where you can use an inside linebacker and kind of lurk that middle of the field a little bit differently. Right. Speaking of the new abilities, they added some brand new ones that were not in the game before this title update. We'll quickly go through those. Protective custody. Ball carriers with this ability, when they're in the zone, are immune to fumbling. This is, I believe they said on the patch today, the stream, I think he said that is immune to enforcer. Is that true?
I believe that is correct. I'm not 100% on that one. We're gonna have to definitely look at the notes as it goes through that one. I'm not too upset with this one. You get your player in the zone after several good runs. He's in that zone, not being able to fumble. I think, fumbles to me are definitely something that I'm not a big fan of anyways. So I'm okay with this one.
Now, this one, already seeing on Twitter, lots of talking about this one, Most. Now, it seems alarming. You're not that worried. Why is that?
The reason why is that the pass has to go 50 yards in the air, right? So when you have double me, and this is very close to double me, in these notes you'll see, which is the one that everybody's getting upset about, is regardless of coverage. With double me, you can do like a cover two man, you can have an over the top player, you can have somebody that's manned up on them, you get two people the ball, then you kind of eliminate this. This one looks like, and obviously this is new territory. We haven't been able to test this yet as we're waiting for stuff. But in general, if the ball's got to go 50 yards in the air, I'm sending the house. I'm going to say, you know what? You want to throw the ball 50 yards? Prove to me you can go ahead and, block 7. I'm not allowing you to throw 50 yards. That's just the way I would play it. Obviously, if there's ways that people can make this work, then obviously it's going to be OP. But you get, somebody who has Most in the zone. I just don't see any way that I'm going to let you throw the ball 50 yards.
Yeah, I agree. When we talked about it at first glance, I was a little bit worried about it. You brought me back down to earth on it. I think that ultimately, if you're playing with Moss, you're probably going to stack it with a bazooka quarterback to ensure that you can actually throw the ball that far and it's not underthrown considerably. I think it's going to be rare that we run into that. I still think it's going to be a runner's game. We're going to talk about gameplay changes here in a little bit, so we'll table that discussion for right now.
Yeah. The one thing I'll add to this that I'm concerned about is if you could throw the ball off your back foot, lob it up there, and let the ball go 50 yards, and let your guy come down with it, that can be alarming, right? You don't have to throw a guy 50 yards and make him open. And I think that's the one thing that I can be concerned about. You still have the control of, the guy needs to run at least 30 yards before you throw it and pass lead it. So we're just going to have to check to see how that one plays out. But my first suggestion to people, if you see it, prove to them that you can throw the ball to a player that way.
Got some new superstar abilities coming in with this title update. I'll go through all of them quickly. You tell me which ones you think impact the meta the most here. And Lumberjack, defensive ability, preventing broken tackles that can cause fumbles while using these cut stick tackles, meaning the right stick down. Out of my way is a defensive ability that will always win versus impact block attempts. That seems like that is one that is coming back into the game from Red Kim from last year. Goal line stuff, defensive ability allowing quick block sheds against one-on-one run blocks within 5 yards of the goal line. Inside stuff, which seems to be the same ability but extended to plays that are just inside runs but not also goal line anywhere on the field. No outsiders, defensive ability that allows quick block sheds against one-on-one blocks on outside running plays. And then we get this one called Tank, inspired by the Ultimate Team legend Gronkowski. Ball carriers with this ability will break hit stick tackles. This does fall back to ratings formulas when countered by the enforcer. So this is available for tight ends on Ultimate Team. Which one of those stand out to you as ones that you would consider adding to your MUT team?
To be honest, the ones that scare me the most is inside stuff as the number one. And the reason why I say that is because if you're able to guarantee yourself not having to worry about stopping a dive or a inside zone play from shotgun, anything to where a nose tackle can basically get a quick block shed, kind of like edge threat, and control the middle of the field. I really feel like that could be overpowered when matched up with a certain type of meta defenses or whatever the case may be. I'm hoping this one does not get to the point where it's overpowered, because I would really be disappointed that we are going to see that, that can really make the game feel a little bit more stale. Outsider on one, if you want to use that on one side of the field, I think we can kind of counter it by running to the other side. If you want to get 3 players and say, you know what, I want outsider on left, outsider on right, and inside stuff, now you're talking, okay, we're playing pass games again, right? But you're probably not going to have any edge threats or anything like that. And then you're going to rely on the blitz. So those are the ones that stick out to me from a strategic standpoint that can really, technically change the way the game's played. They didn't really do too much to the run game as far as, tuning a lot of things. And this is kind of the way I'm seeing it, as their way of saying, if you want to stop the run, without scheming with it and just letting your players do the work for you, you can buy these chemistries and do it. And that kind of concerns me to some level. But we're going to have to see and kind of see how this works on players to really see how OP it's going to be.
I agree wholeheartedly with that statement you just made. But again, got to be fair, got to give it an opportunity. We'll see what happens with these abilities. My biggest fear is we're going to go back to 3-3-5 odd. You're going to have, an inside stuffer at the nose tackle, maybe no outsiders on the DNs or whatever, and you're going to be able to stay in that non-pinch defensive line alignment and handle all the runs, which is the biggest concern. That's why we got to the point that Madden 20 is the way it is, with the run game being the way it is we went through years of, defenses that are not run defenses being run defenses. I hope that these abilities aren't a concession to players that refuse to adapt their style, but still feel the need to run their keyboards on Twitter. That's my concern with it. But
Yeah.
I digress. We'll go ahead and move forward. We'll have to see what happens with that one. Let's go ahead and get to the stuff that we're actually going to care about here. That's the gameplay updates. So these are big. These are all really big. We'll go through these one by one. We reintroduced stumbling for ball carriers in specific situations. That is huge.
I agree. This is probably one that I was probably the most excited about. One, but also at the same point, I think that I want to give them their credit here because I kind of feel like they didn't go all the way. They said, in specific situations, these are the types that people are going to specifically try to run into the back of their linemen and, basically hide behind those, wait for a hole to open up and go, right? There was no penalty for that. Now they're going to stumble in that situation. I know we discussed this off air here, but think Panther heavy, something to where quarterbacks are definitely just going to play behind their players, wait. Something opens it up, and next thing you know, you got a 60-yard touchdown run because there was nothing to penalize yourself of just continuing to put that the run stick towards the end zone and then just wait for something to happen. So I'm excited about this one. I'm really hoping that this plays out the way that we hope it will.
I agree. That one's huge. So many players. I mean, I've seen pro players, and don't get me wrong, I don't blame them. They say things like, "Yeah, I practiced running into my lineman because I know what it does in the game." I mean, at competitive level, we've seen players that lab their scheme as such. Now they're going to have to go back, retune their stick work a little bit. Not that they're going to struggle with that, but now they're going to actually have to hit holes rather than hitting teammates, which is hopefully going to be a change to the run meta. Next one is going to be tuning to reduce frequency of auto broken tackles versus AI controlled and user controlled defenders when they are using the conservative tackle on competitive. So this does not apply to arcade or simulation. What do you think about that one?
I don't think it's going to be as much. It says on using conservative tackle, right? Now, if I like it when it's going against user controlled, obviously, there's a lot of times where someone gets hit in the backfield and they do, an AI controlled broken tackle, and next thing there's another one. It goes and it basically feels like it snowballs. You know, the way I play defense, I know you and I have the same scheme. We do the same. We get ball carriers to the ball. We get multiple ball carriers to the ball. So this hasn't affected me personally as much, but I do think that there is a little bit of a cry out there that people, wanted this because they feel like you hit somebody and they get that auto broken tackle right away. It can definitely get deflating. So, out of all the stuff, this isn't one that I'm overly, excited about, but I could see why they did what they did.
Next one is a tuning to prevent auto broken tackles when the ball carrier is using the cover the ball mechanic. Again, on competitive only, not sim or arcade. This excludes hit sticks. What do you think, Antcap?
This one is definitely what I'm excited about. It goes back to the Panther heavy. It goes back to those players that want to hide in basically a group of players, kind of like a rugby scrum, and the next thing they know, they come out, right? They're holding on to that RB, and because they're getting the auto broken tackles when they're covering it, it just made that scheme OP for somebody that didn't have to have stick, and that was the hardest part, right? Like, it didn't show skill, it just showed that it can come out of a group, and I'm really excited that got changed.
I agree on that one. I mean, again, I'm the player that is all about improving the game. I don't blame any one competitive player for playing the way that allows them to put the ball in the end zone. You'll never hear me say bad things about players for doing what works. But at the same time, I think that the Panther heavy offense, where you just fast break, cover the ball, put the coach settings on conservative, and run into your lineman, is hands down the most brainless thing I have ever seen in Madden history. Again, I don't blame any
Yeah.
players for running it, but I think it
Mhm.
is far and away the most brainless thing I have ever seen in Madden history. So, these notes that we're going through, take a big swing at that heavy panther. I don't think it's as big against your stretch meta, but if you're going to get out there and run with Vic, Lamar Jackson, cover the ball and conservative and just run into linemen, I think you're going to struggle with this patch. But those good players will find the next thing to move on to.
Absolutely.
Here's the next one. Tuning to prevent the ball carrier from retaining top speed. So again, another Panther heavy thing here.
Absolutely. This is EA's way of saying, listen, we don't want to see this in the game as far as a meta. Then they make a game and, we go and find the best way, I say we as players, to have success. And this was one of the biggest things is, hey, we can run this with fast break. We can run this with conservative, ball carrier, cover the ball, run into players. It's just not a good look for, that's what we're playing. And they found ways to do some tuning updates to make sure that that style isn't happening. But this is also something that happens when on kickoffs. It happens in the open field with players, that there's no the risk and reward didn't match, right? You can do it, all you got was reward. You kept your speed, you weren't going to fumble. So at least now they balanced the game a little bit by doing this.
Added functionality to zone abilities, rack 'em up, double me, and max security so that they will beat press versus man coverage when players are in the zone. So that's an X Factor ability. Let's go to the next one. Tuning to slightly increase block shed speed for the run stuffer zone ability when in the zone. So again, another X Factor ability, not really for your passives. How about this one? Tuning to reduce situations where AI controlled players are allowed to cause fumbles on the competitive game style. This is a big one, Antcap.
This is a big one. This is your enforcer one, right? This is the one that you've got AI control players that, people want to put in certain situations to make their own ability to cause fumbles. I'm always been on the camp that you should make a fumble using your user. You make you put yourself in a good spot, get a hit stick, get that. You know what? I can't be upset on offense that you caused a fumble because that was something you did. If I throw um, you know, a slant and I go into something and you do nothing on the play and a player that has a ratings that hits you, it's just, to me, it just feels, it's harder to swallow when I get the fumble. So I'm excited about this one.
There is a dev note here that says, based on this is competitive player feedback, players have expressed that AI controlled defenders have too much of an impact on the outcome of games when they can cause fumbles as frequently as a user controlled defender. Actually, I would add to that note more so than user controlled defenders. This tuning change will significantly decrease the chances of AI defenders forcing those fumbles on competitive, but it does not apply to tackling scrambling quarterbacks. I like that for balance. You can't just go escape artist and run into CPU tackles. You're still gonna have an odds to fumble there. That's huge. The one that I think about is enforcer, because
the click offs.
Yeah, so many people, their run defense is 3-4 odd, pinch their D line, spread their linebackers, blitz the inside linebackers, spy, one guy in an enforcer, and then user another enforcer. And they just wait to see if you run left, right, or center, throw the enforcer that they're using, and click off, sending him like a heat-seeking missile, and he goes and forces fumbles. To me, it's like, those same players are the ones out there screaming, armbar takes no skill, all you do is spam A. Well, okay. Well, at least somebody's pressing a button repeatedly. You're letting the computer do the work for you. So, to me, that's it's a nice game balance. If you want the fumbles, stay clicked on. Otherwise, you're just going to get big hit animations. And the ball's not going to come out. I think that's a fair balance.
Absolutely. And this is just something that, like you mentioned before, people are going to play the game to the best of its ability. We're not attacking individual people. We're just talking about this play style that they actually have done, that we're happy that they're no longer able to do that, because we want the skill to be higher. Don't let the computer AI be the one that makes the play for you. And this is what EA reacted to, and I like it.
Our next one, fixed an issue that prevented the offense from snapping the ball with a player in motion while the defense was resetting the play. That's a big one. We actually put out a video. Remember the flip glitch with all the I-form tight, flip the play, snap it, receivers on a slant out, right? We put out a video on Playbook GG over a month ago, probably 2 months ago at this point, that showed you how to make it so that way they couldn't just reset your coverage and cause guys to shift and leave guys uncovered on outbreaking patterns.
Right.
Unfortunately, people took that tip and they used it in a negative way to make it so you couldn't motion snap at all. I didn't see the splash damage of putting out that video. I apologize. That's on us at that point. But at least EA comes back and they make it right here with this change.
Right. Our intention was to basically give you a opportunity to stop a glitch against you, and then people use that type of and just how it is. Basically you take information. How can I use this to my benefit? And the benefit was people want to motion somebody across and do a motion snap. Now they're just doing that tactic, and they couldn't do it, so people weren't able to run their full offenses that way. Now they've got that fixed.
Absolutely. Fix an issue. This was also big. This one might be the biggest one because this affects everyone, no matter what mode you play. Fix an issue allowing inaccurate sky kickoffs near the sideline to be frequently recovered by the kicking team. This has become known in the community as the scum kick. And basically what they said on the title update stream this morning is that if you go ahead and sky kick and you're wildly inaccurate with your accuracy, they're just going to kick it out of bounds.
Right. I think this is going to be something every year that this is going to be addressed, because everybody, tries to find that, perfect way to get the easy ball back. I was in the game last year. They had to put a title update on it. Again, they did it this year. People are creative, and hopefully they found the one that, doesn't allow for it to happen again. But we may be revisiting this in 3 months. Who knows? It's just, people are going to try to find a way to do it. And hopefully the one that people are doing now is no longer in the game.
The rest of these notes, very just kind of random, I would
Specific,
say.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger's short and medium passes to the left fixed. Freezing when being tackled by your feet. Some issues with the gambler ability. That's an AI controlled ability most people click on for picks. Fixing issues, sometimes causing kickoff animation to miss a line during an onside kick attempt. Fix an issue with an individual play on an open slot zone alert bubble. Missed handoffs on an end around play got tuned, and also some pass leading down on slants. One more note that we want to add here on our little podcast is draft champions. Some changes with draft champions. That's important because that, I believe, is our next season in the MCS. So what did they change?
This is a big one in my opinion. It's after you've gone through your entire draft, they added an additional round at the end that gives you the ability to have 3 new choices on a playbook option. So in the past, you were able to get 3 options to pick from in the beginning, and then that was it. Well, now you've got 3 options at the end, which is really nice. From once you've seen your team, maybe now you've said, you know what, I want to change my playbook because of the fact that I've got a personnel that's going to fit one better. Or maybe the worst thing is when you start your draft, you get a playbook that you just absolutely hate, and now you've got to go through a season with it. Now you've got kind of like that redemption at the end. It says that you go from basically 9% to like almost 19% of getting the one that you want. And we all know that a lot of playbooks in Madden are very similar to others. Let's talk about like the Patriots and the Dolphins are similar. So if that's what you're running, then you've got even double that percentage because you just need one or the other. So it's a really nice addition, in my opinion, to really not only it kind of lessens the randomization of what that mode is. And in a competitive setting, being able to control your fate a little bit on the front end of having that offense or defense that you desire is big, in my opinion.
That's so huge. I like the note that you made about the Patriots Dolphins because if you're waiting for split close to show up, right? The odds of getting the Patriots are now 18.75%. If that formation that you like is in 2 playbooks, you double that. You're talking 37.5% chance of that popping up, close to 40%. I mean, you'll take that every single day. Now, if you're a defensive player like I am, you rely on a specific defense. I'm a big 3-4 bear guy. You guys can check out the playbook on playbook.gg, or Antcap. He likes, for instance, he liked the Rams playbook early in the year. If he were still in Rams, then he's relying on Rams. He's now got an 18.75% chance. The other note that you talked about is how often do we choose a playbook in years past? And trust me, I've killed this mode for years, as a competitive mode. I feel like random teams, random playbooks, random players, just I've never been a fan. It's hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard. And for people that spend thousands of games perfecting their craft to either win or lose money based off of whether or not they get a specific playbook is so hard. With this particular thing, I'm looking at like 5 or 6 defenses in the game that had 3-4 bear.
Mhm.
Now we're talking about, double that odds. So like there's next to no chance that as a defensive player, I'm not going to get one of those 6 or 7 teams that have the 3-4 bear with
Mhm.
with this format. The other thing is, let's say you choose a playbook for gun bunch. You want 3 receivers and a tight end. We've all had those drafts where you're done with the draft. You're like, man, I've got Delaney Walker, George Kittle. I've got my legend is Shannon Sharp somehow. I've got, Noah Fant. I've got 4 tight ends, and I'm
Yeah.
going to try to run bunch. Okay, that last round, let's go ahead and get ourselves an ace playbook because, I'm not running spread with this
Right.
personnel grouping.
You get to see your cards now before you get to pick the playbook, where it wasn't that before. You always pick the playbook and want to, build around the players, but in the randomization of it, it doesn't always work that way. The draft doesn't always give you what you're looking for the playbook you have. Now you've got that ability to kind of pull that mulligan out and say, you know what, this is what I want. Let's go.
Very, very big. Also, some superstar KO changes, but that should do it here for our little title update podcast. This is a big one. We're going to see how this changes the meta of competitive Madden. Of course, we got the Club Series coming up here starting next week, I believe, with the single elims. So we're going to see if this title update, as a lot of players so lovingly says, oh, they always drop a patch right before a tournament. It always changes the game completely for us. Let's see if this one actually does, or if it's a lot of lip service from the competitive community. Antcap, appreciate you doing this video with me. Hopefully this is big for our viewers. It'll explain the patch to them and let them know what to expect when they install it next time they turn on their console.
Absolutely, guys. We appreciate you guys checking our YouTube video. If you guys like this one, please let us know as well, because that way we can know that we want to do them in the future. Kind of go line by line, but additionally give you what we're thinking of how it's going to impact not only competitive but also just the game itself. So leave us those comments. Let us know that you guys want more of these when they come out, and we'll be happy to do so.
If you like this video, check out one of the videos on your screen right now. And for more in-depth analysis, visit www.playbook.gg for detailed game plans written by pro Madden players. Master the game with playbook.gg.